Joe Button, greetings and salutations. My name is Sasha Moreau, and this is an interview with Jay Walters. He is a bass player extraordinaire guru. He is a traveling musician, and I just dropped a new title on him. He is the yacht rock terrorist himself. Jay, say hello to everybody.
Oh, hello, everybody. Hello, Sasha. How are you today? Thank you for the
Dude,
lovely introduction.
you are welcome. Doing so good. So Jay and I met not in a quasi musical sense. Actually, I was
Yeah,
doing
kind
magic
of.
in North Carolina, and you were playing it like so. We're gonna get into the whole thing, but our background is we met at an amusement park in North Carolina last year and hit it off and have stayed in touch. And all of a sudden, FairVU came up, and you were like, "Hey, let's chat a bit." After I reached out to you.
Yeah.
So where are
As
you
soon as,
currently? Are you in North Carolina? What's
yeah,
your
I
what's your
was just
jam?
saying, as soon as you reached out, I was open to the conversation. And yeah, what you just to answer your question. Right now, I'm just based in Ohio and doing a couple odds and ends gigs here and there, subbing in, subbing out, and living the life.
Fantastic. So I'll tell you what. So I'm just going to throw a couple of questions your way, and we'll sort of go from there. And rather than me
Cool.
giving an exhaustive history and you just like nod your head, uh, tell us about yourself. What is your musician origin story? Where did you come from? What created the musician who I am talking to today? We've got plenty of time, so lay it on me, dude.
Okay, so here's the story. When I was about 4 years old, my dad's a musician as well. He's been playing bass my whole life. Um, Sitting
Cool.
in the living room. My dad's playing bass. I'm like 4 years old. He's playing something, and I go, "Oh, let me try." They hand it over. Haha, yeah, 4 year old's gonna play bass. I play back what he just did.
No
And
way.
so as the story goes, from that moment, my mom looked at my dad and goes, "Oh, here it is," or like something along those lines.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
fast forward a few years later, I've been playing bass at home. My dad gets me a drum set from a garage sale. I got a guitar in my hand here and there, like playing as a sub bassist in my dad's band at this time. I'm like 9 years old, coming up on stage, like subbing in and out, like a few different songs here and there. Super fun, just like dad rock covers, classic rock stuff. And then turn the years a couple more. I joined a band called East Ninth about 10 years ago. I've been playing with them ever since. The frontman's my brother-in-law. Like just
Nice.
been gigging, been in the world since I was a kid. And, obviously middle and high school, I do the concert band. All my formal educational backgrounds and in drum set and percussion, but my personal jive is playing bass. Give me four strings and I'm a happy man. But just going through like stereotypical high school and college like percussion education and classical like written notated music,
Mhm.
and just gigging myself. I got to explore and go see, be, and do all these different things that have led me to be 24 sitting in front of you having a conversation halfway across the country.
That is incredible, dude. So like basically like Forrest Gump playing ping pong. You just picked up the bass and it was like, ah, here we go. And this is gonna this is gonna I don't know
Yeah,
if anyone
it's
understands that reference anymore because old. So that's how that goes.
I'm gonna be real with you, I've never seen Forrest Gump.
See, 100%. You should check it out because it's a great film.
I
Spell your
should
band's
doubly
name
check it
for
out
me
because
real
my
quick.
girlfriend's cat is named Forrest Gump.
Oh, so you don't even know. You don't even know.
I don't
See,
know.
this is the universe being like, go and watch Forrest Gump.
I'll put it on the
That's
watch
awesome.
list for tonight.
That's perfect. Thank you very much. So give me your band's name again.
East Ninth.
East Ninth. Okay, cool. East Ninth.
Yeah.
What sort of
It's named after the street in Cleveland where all the sports stadiums are on because we're all huge Cleveland sports fans.
nice. Okay, so you're straddling that world of sports and music, which sometimes are at odds and oftentimes go hand in hand together, like Slayer and the Raiders.
Well, when you're
When
playing
the
like
Raiders were not in Las
alternative
Vegas.
indie rock, it just kind of like jives that you're like bringing that energy, and like hopefully we can get like the hype of the sports fans that are in that area to like, wait, who's this band that's named after the street that I am on all the time, and then bing bang boom.
So one of the things that you and I were chatting about that I was super jazzed talk to you about in this conversation
Mhm.
is the fact that you have been living sort of a dual life in between playing and paying the bills, playing cover songs, and then also having
Mhm.
stuff that is your own personal stuff and the difference. So I am super interested to talk to you about what that has been like and what the experience is, and the whole jam. Because I'm sure that there are some musicians who are like, oh, you play cover songs, you're not a real musician, right? And what that whole thing
I will
is. So like,
I will be the first person to tell you that before I got into, like, doing, like, the bigger, like, getting the gigs paid by the corporate stuff, playing, like, these cover songs and these playing the music that isn't mine, just to
right,
make ends meet. I would look at these guys that would just be these traveling cover bands and, like, do these wedding bands full time and stuff. I'd be like, "Yeah, that's cool. You're making good money, but, like, anyone can but, like, not
right.
anyone can do that." Like, there's a difference, but, like, there are good cover bands,
You've
there are bad
gotta
cover
be
bands.
you've
I've
gotta
been
be
in bad cover
really
bands.
on your game in order to play a bunch of different styles, a bunch of different not even just genre-wise, but, like, you are not just
Mhm,
being the bass player where you wrote your songs, you are now having to be 100 different kinds of bass players who are playing different styles, finger picks or picks or the whole thing, and then feels and
mhm.
and whatnot, so, incredibly demanding. Um,
Yeah, absolutely, and so I would see that, and, like, a younger me, a more, like, ignorant me, I guess, would kinda scoff at it and be like, "Ah, that's not you're not a true musician, you're not playing your own music, you're not giving into the grind, like, where's your songs, where's your stuff?" And then it's like, "No, that's still that person, that's still that performer on stage doing that, but, they have to be able to adapt to all these different things." So I have a lot of respect to that, especially coming off of a cruise contract where I just had to learn upwards of 250 songs that weren't mine and play them night in, night out,
nuts.
three different sets a night. Like, so much respect to those people.
Yeah, absolute. So, really interesting thing that you just said was talking about not real because it's not like me involving in the grind, and that's sort of a mindset that musicians and artists need to be in the grind and to suffer in order to be real or accepted. Which is absolutely something that we were trying to here at Fairview to
Mhm,
break down and at least like say, look, we're all in this together, and it's really kind of
mhm.
us versus them instead of us versus us. So, way to call
Oh,
attention to that.
absolutely. Like, that grind still exists, whether you're playing your own songs or not, because you have to sit down and, like you said, be 100% on your game and be 100 different bass players all at once, or 100 different drummers, or 100 different guitarists, or 100 different keyboardists. And don't even get me started on the keyboardist side of things.
Right.
That's crazy news. Uh, but yeah, even just like that grind exists, whether you're playing your own stuff, driving 100 miles to play a show where you might make $20 and meet five people, or you're playing, at an amusement park, the same five shows a day, and you don't really interact with any of those people. Those people aren't really there to see you. They're there for the park, but you're just an added bonus. The grind
And
exists on both sides of things because you have to learn, you have to be captivating, you have to perform, and you have to put yourself into it.
so when you and I were at the amusement park in North Carolina, I can confirm there were days that we would come in and it was like 95 degrees at 100% humidity out there, and you guys had to go out and do your show, and I'm doing magic staying in the air conditioned theater, and you guys would go out there and do your thing and come back and then just collapse, and then you'd have to look at your watch and be like, all right, we're going back out there, and whatever the
Yeah,
time was. So grueling schedule, and you guys were amazing, by the way, just FYI.
thank you,
I
thank
would
you.
not have said like, hey, I really enjoyed that yacht rock show before, but you guys, like, you made it personal, and the personalities and the musicianship were fantastic, and I watched you perform to over the course of your whole set, what started as 3 people and then 5 and then 20 and then 7 and then another 4 came by, and like it was just this like drifting
Mhm.
thing, but you guys were going at it the whole time, so working your asses off in the heat, in
Yeah.
in the
Yeah, I
South
mean, you can
summer.
apply the same thing to like a high grossing cover band at a wedding. You don't know how many people are going to be at that reception paying attention to you, the band, or whatever. Or could be three people dancing, could be 100 people dancing, could be no one dancing, but you're still there. You still put the grind there. And drawing back to the local side of things, same mirror can happen. You're playing for 3 people, 20 people, 25 people, doesn't matter. We're all putting that grind together. We're all supposed to be in that headspace. It's not us versus us, like you were saying. It's us versus them.
Absolutely, dude. Mad respect your way. How did you get from studying in high school and doing, putting in the time
Mhm.
to be able to become the bass player you are? How did you get into doing cover stuff to be able to pay your bills? Because this you are the first musician that I've talked to who has done this sort of, you're making a career out of it. You're paying your bills with music, which is amazing. Mad respect with that, especially these days. How did you
Thank
get
you.
into it?
I'm very fortunate to be able to do that. But how I kind of got into it is like my guitar player from East Ninth was in the Dana School of Music at YSU, where I got my music minor. I have a communications degree. I am simply a musician by trade. Um, but he was performing with a lot of his friends and getting these auditions at Cedar Point, which is in Sandusky, Ohio, about 2 hours from me. So they came through Cedar Point, came through YSU and held auditions. And so all of my friends who were older than me, because Steve is, I think, 8, 10 years older than me, I
Mm.
joined this band at 14 and everyone was about to graduate college. Um,
Young whiz kid, that's you, right on.
it was my sister going, "Hey, my brother plays bass," and they were like, "I guess we need a bass player for the show," and then we were off to the races. But so they had all did these auditions to work at Cedar Point as live entertainment personnel, and got that, and also would still come home and we would do hometown shows in our band together. And he was like, "Hey, you should audition." And a few years by the time I was age appropriate to audition, I haphazardly one day, just sitting in my living room, threw a video together and 20 minutes later sent my stuff in. And initially I got told no and put on a swing
Hmm,
list.
okay.
And so I was like, maybe next year. We'll just keep the normal grind going. And then 2 weeks before they got there to start rehearsals,
Yep.
one of their bass player dropped and they called me, and next thing I knew I was in Sandusky starting my contract life while still in college and trying to teach full time and like all these different
That's
things.
awesome.
And I've been doing contracts pretty much year round ever since.
That's crazy, dude. Good for you. Hell yeah. And that is
Thank you.
that haphazard sort of randomness, that happens way more than people think. I mean, even in my magic career, so outside of my whole music thing, my
Mhm.
magic career, I came in as a backup swing tech to learn lights and sound, and I did it for free for a month just because I wanted the experience out of college. And my
Yeah.
second week on that gig, the sound guy forgot to renew his visa and was deported back to Australia. And that's how I ended up getting the gig. I was there and we went from there. So you never know. And,
Yeah.
I love that you were just like, no, I'm going to put together a video right quick. Like big decisions happen
It was
just
one
in
of
that,
those things
that
where
split second moment.
it had been talked about and put in my ear for so long that I was like, I'd never seen that opportunity or that path before, and I didn't know that was a thing. And I was honestly scared to do it. I mean, I was 20 years old, not only doing bar gigs, not really expanding much outside of my hometown. And then I just had a moment where I wasn't scared for a second. And then I was just like, I got to do this right now because if I don't, I'm not going to.
Nice.
And it's that spur of the moment decision, that like game time thing that just you never know until you just kind of do it. And it completely
And
changed my life.
that is absolutely something that connects all of us artists together because it
Mhm.
is incredibly vulnerable, putting yourself out there and doing that. If you have to
Oh,
audition, if
yeah.
you had, whether it's for a band or it's a gig or a contract or making a video or content or whatever it is, like that's scary.
Yeah.
So my
I
hat's
still
off
get
to you,
scared to
sir.
make a
Well,
TikTok because I don't want people to say something bad about me in the comments. Like, it's
well, trust me, with age, your skin gets thicker, so you're on the right path. Keep doing your thing. Let me ask you a question. Can you share with me let's call it a significant musical memory? Something that, like, in that moment, music was solidified for you as a positive force in your life, and this became something that was like, okay, this is real for me.
uh, I don't remember like kind of the snap moment. I don't think there was ever a moment like during a show
Hmm.
specifically that like really grabs me, but there's one night that will forever just kind of encapsulate like how much this means to me, because it was the first
Yeah,
time
yeah.
I had lost someone in a band. Like we had a
Okay.
farewell show for our drummer that I had been playing with as my first drummer for the last like 6 years.
Hmm.
And he was like an older brother to me and just this incredibly positive guy. He's now a father. Big shout out to Tyler. Um, and it was that night of that farewell show where we were just kind of playing our own stuff. We were in this trophy room, which was the name of this like basement bar. We were just had a bunch of hometown friends there. Everyone was just kind of there and feeling the energy and there for us and there for each other and sharing the love and in the music and in the memories and in the moments and in the people. And that was one of those nights to me where it just like it grabbed me and I was like, if I can get this feeling from this activity and this passion that I love so much inside and share it with all these people in this space or in whatever space that I'm in, done. I'll do this forever.
Dude, my mouth hurts from smiling. That is like one of the most beautiful descriptions of that live music thing and the sense of community and camaraderie that comes together with everyone during a show. Thank
Yeah,
you for sharing that. Um,
of course, of
speaking of like
course.
just playing your own stuff, is there something that you have written or worked on? Doesn't have to be a song, could be a project, could be a record, a band, but something that you are particularly proud of. Because oftentimes artists do have a hard time being like, "Hey, I like this that I made, or I like this that I did." Is there something that stands out to you that you like?
So there's a solo project that I have called JW and the Convenience Band that I do outside of East Ninth. This is my own personal material. I
Nice.
write and record the stuff with my drummer Kenny. Um, he's a phenomenal musical mind and will just hear parts in my head before I can describe them to him. So it's just
One of
beautiful.
those.
But
Yep.
it's one of those, and we put out our only like full length album, which was just like all stuff that I held really personal. It's like not a demo album, fully produced. It's called Running Out, and the title track off of that album is something that really I hold strong to me, even though it may not have the most traction, it may not be the most liked song on the album. This is a song that means a lot to me, as
Hmm.
well as my most recent single called Unwealth, which is just about, you know, the environment and the world of social media and just like the feeling of like knowing you're not okay, but knowing you'll be okay. You'll figure it out. Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm in it
those are
right now,
two
but
like big songs and big projects that like I don't care if they get zero traction. I wanted them out there. That way I can say I put them out there and I was me enough to put them out there.
well, and that is legit. What you are describing is the definition of art. That is the artist's perspective communicated, about life through a given medium, which is amazing. So mad respect for that. Is there where can I want to check this stuff out? Where can we find it? Where can we listen to it?
Oh yeah, you can find JW and the Convenience Band and East Ninth on Spotify, Apple Music, all the Bandcamp, Napster, MySpace,
Gotcha.
anywhere. We're
Okay.
there.
Well, we're gonna link all of that stuff in the show notes here for all of that, and see what we can do about pushing that out. So,
Oh,
sick. Thank
appreciate
you
it.
for
Thank you.
sharing about that. Let me ask you, hard question, easy question. We'll see. What do you like about being a musician?
Ooh.
Aha.
Huh. I like the surprising amount of work ethic and discipline it takes.
Okay.
Like I am
Okay.
someone like I I'm a very habitual person. I'm a very like once I get into the groove of something, I'm there. Sometimes I'll eat the same thing every day for like 3 weeks straight just because you know what? It's easy, it's right there.
Same.
So
Hmm.
when it comes to the work ethic and the discipline of music, you don't know what a gig can throw at you. So you have to be able
Truth.
to step in and lock in and like prove that you're able to stand in the shoes you're standing in a lot of the time. Like
Hmm.
for me, that's how I view it. Is like I want to walk in and give 100% and do what I'm supposed to be doing. Because if I'm not doing that or I know I can't give that, then I'm not I'm not there, and that's not professional, and that's not respectful for everyone in that environment. So when it comes to that discipline and that work ethic, you have to be able to adapt and learn and be able to see and hear and feel so many different things all at once, and to be able to just like meet so many cool people that share in that mindset and are able to do that and build on that environment and those
Yep.
things and just create. Ooh, it gets me so excited when you get into a room of like-minded people like that, and those individuals that just want to sit down and do the work and have done the work or are willing to put the work in. You just get that nervous excitement of a
It's
gets
like
me
nothing.
going,
It's
man.
like nothing else.
Yeah.
And you've essentially just given us the headline for this interview because this is like, hey, young musicians, here is a master class on how to land gigs and keep getting called back again and again. Because if you work the way that you describing, which I can confirm, I've seen you work. You're a badass on stage, and you are one hell of a musician. This is how you are going to start doing a career as this. So, hell yeah, dude. Thank you for that.
Thank
Flip
you.
side of the coin, real quick. What do you not like about being a musician? What do you find challenging?
I think the biggest thing that can fault a lot of rooms is perchance too many cooks in the kitchen, to put it that way. When
Okay.
you have
Perchance.
those individuals that maybe, you know, don't play as well with others. They're a great
Mm,
performer, they're a great mind, they're a great this, that, and the other, but there's a there's a social aspect to being a musician as well. And
mhm,
the thing that I find challenging a lot of the times is navigating that social aspect and, you know, doing your best to create all the right networks and build the right people and have these like right people around you. And not to saying that there's any slight or issues that I have with anybody. I will work with anybody. That is no problem with me. Like it's
mhm.
if someone else walks into the room and has a completely different like mindset or is mishandling things or is just violating the vibe, I
Yeah.
guess. That is something that I don't enjoy because like I don't want to be that person. I don't like being in an environment with that person. So navigating just the social aspect of being a musician and like the groundworks and the networking of things, I think can be challenging and is oftentimes for me something that I struggle with because I don't want to appear the wrong way and I don't want anyone to like think of me badly. No one does, obviously, but like it's a weird
Yeah.
dynamic of knowing like what to say when and who's okay to approach in that moment and have a conversation with. And if you don't know them or things like that, like going up
Well,
for a
and here's the
handshake to introduce yourself, it may not be the right
yes.
moment to do that, and you should wait 10 minutes. Like,
And knowing when that moment is and when to
mhm,
sit back. No, having to navigate someone's ego is I mean, that's learning to be an adult, one, but there is absolutely when you hit artists and musicians, specifically, there's a level of ego that goes into this. You have to have
mhm,
something deep inside of you to say, "I deserve to be here, and I have something to say that you should listen to." And oftentimes, especially with social media these days, a lot of people drink their own Kool-Aid and are difficult to play with. They do not play well with others. You can be brilliant. I
mhm,
had a math teacher at university who was apparently a brilliant mathematician and worldwide respected. Could not teach
yeah,
even a little bit. I dropped his class after the first day because I was tired of he belittled four students in a row and called them stupid because they were unable to do what he hadn't taught them to do yet. And it was like, okay, this
mm,
is not my jam. So
yeah.
musicians like that, like, but with an exponent,
No, I
there's
mean,
my
I'm the first to admit, like, I've had my fair share of ego spikes and mishandled situations.
Mhm.
But I coming on the other side of that, you have to be able to, like, kinda hold a mirror to yourself and hold a mirror to a situation from an objective like, standpoint and be like, "Okay, is I know I'm in the situation. Is it worth putting me into the situation and my ego into the situation? Or is
exactly.
it better to just, for the social aspect, you know what? I have things to say. I don't need to say them. That's cool too." That's
Yep.
not the moment.
And sometimes you do have to say them and sometimes you don't, because things that are not addressed will continue. And it depends
Mhm.
sort of what are you able to put up with and what are you able to compromise on, and it's an ongoing
And there's
conversation
also
for
a
sure.
way of saying it too. Like, if there is an issue,
Yes.
you're allowed to have an issue with
Yes.
somebody, but it's the tact in which you present it.
That
Like,
needs to be on a t-shirt, just FYI. That's yeah. I would wear one. We'll look into it and see see what the haps is. Um,
FairVU merch,
all
let's
right.
go.
We've talked about what you've liked, and we've talked about stuff that you dislike. Let me ask you, what would make your life easier or more efficient as a musician, as a professional musician? What would make your life easier? What would be helpful?
My own plane?
Okay. Yep. Obviously,
No, on a real side of
that's
things,
valid.
what would make my life more efficient? Honestly, I'm pretty content right now. Like, I'm in a really good spot. Like, I feel personally and musically, just on the superficial level, like gear wise, I'm not jiving for anything. I don't need anything like
Mhm.
to make my setup exactly what I want it to be. Like, I'm doing really well with the things that I have in the position that I'm in. I don't know if there's really one particular thing that would make my life more efficient as a musician.
Okay. That's totally valid, and I respect that you are very zen about that. So let's zoom out for a little bit. Let's talk a little bit greater in terms of the music industry. What would any changes that you would like to see in the music industry currently that would make your life better or easier as a musician?
Just let people do it. Just give them a chance.
There you go.
Like, there's so many places that like require you to sell these tickets, or like require this, that, and the
Um,
other thing to even get in the door to maybe
pay to
think
play.
about playing there. And it's
Hmm.
like, if you're a space that like, it's consider a restaurant bar, for example.
Okay.
If you're a place that hosts bands and you have these shows and you also have your food and you also have this restaurant business, say you only do bands on the weekends, and that's just kind of your thing.
Hmm.
I I feel like there shouldn't be that strict of limitations on who's playing there. Like, you have a new young artist that wants to maybe try something for the first time, or like this band that is coming through town only this night only. They just dropped a show and they need a place to play. They're trying to do something like and get people in the door. Like,
Yep.
give people that opportunity, give people that chance. Like, don't force these people to conform to like the, oh, we only have this demo here that can sell these type of tickets. Like, maybe I want to go to a random bar that looks like it would be just kind of like this divey hole in the wall place, and then all of a sudden there's a three-piece jazz trio in the corner. I'm in on that. Or if I'm
Yep.
going to a bar and grill somewhere and then there's a cover band that like is a group of teens that just want to play outside the garage, yeah, respect to them. Let them go, let them try, give them that experience,
Absolutely.
let them perform, let the art be on display.
So because you are giving a master class to young musicians, let's define real quick what does pay to play look like, because this is something that we all learned coming up that it sounds
Hmm.
like an amazing thing. Hey, we're going to let you play. Famously, the Whiskey A Go Go in L.A. is a pay to play venue, and so
Mm.
explain to our listeners what exactly that means.
Pay to play for me is essentially where you're putting more into the show than what you're getting out of it. Like, I
Hmm.
spent, like, starting out, say you spend like $400 on your bass, you spend another $200 on your amp, and cables, cords, things like that, strings, and great, you got your first gig. You're playing at the local pub downtown. Awesome. You just spent $800 getting yourself ready to play that gig. Let's go play that show. It's done. Everyone's feeling great, having a good time. You made $20. You now
20
set
bucks.
you have $780 left to pay yourself back by playing.
Hmm.
You are
This
you are
is yep.
putting the money in, you are investing on the ground level of your career. If you believe in it hard enough, it will pay off, but you are paying for the opportunity to put yourself there.
100%. And for anyone who is watching or listening to this, and you are not a musician, this is the reality that we are facing all the time, and this is why uh, uh, playing with us back and forth in terms of pricing and lowballing people, you're not paying for the 45-minute set that we're doing. You are paying for the 20 years of preparation and all of the gear and
Mhm.
everything that gets us to that set to provide us with the skills to be able to play that. Um, that's
Yeah.
a
You're not
really good
looking at just the
observation.
hour-long set. You're looking at the hour-long set and maybe in the miraculous circumstances, the only 2 hours of rehearsal that this band had beforehand that they're able to
Yeah,
pull out an hour set from. Like, that's work there. Not to mention all the gear and the rehearsal time that normally is more than just 2 hours. Like
absolutely that. Um,
mhm,
one other quick clarification in terms of pay to play. Oftentimes, there will be venues that will say, "Hey, you want to play here? We're a famous venue. Absolutely, you can do that. Here's 50 tickets that we need you to sell for the day of the show. And if you do not sell those 50 tickets, let's say that you sell 10 of them to friends or whatever it is, you are still on the hook for paying
mhm,
for the ticket prices for those 40, and you now
yeah,
owe the bar to be able to do that. You are essentially paying to go and play in that space. So just be aware that might be for exposure. There's that the magic word with the capital E. Um,
yeah.
it's a double-edged sword for sure, but just to be aware of that. Um, One last quick question here at Fairview, we talk oftentimes about this thing called the soundtrack of your life, and this is
Mm,
these are your influences, the songs which you've been playing that sort of have made
yeah.
you into you and open up memories that are deeply connected. Um, you being in a cover band and also doing your own stuff, being a very well-rounded musician with having to learn 250 songs on the recent contract in the Caribbean. Um, whew, uh, you've obviously listened to a lot of music. Do you have two or three, kind of artists that you would like to give a quick shout out to that we will link down in the show notes, just in terms of influences or things that, songs, artists that are deeply meaningful to you?
Uh, man, there's this band called Colony House that I have 2 different tattoos on my body. There's a tattoo on
Oh,
my chest of a quote of theirs that says, "I'd rather have life to give than only my life to live," by a song of theirs called "Follow Me Down." Oh, I almost drove off the road with tears in my eyes the first time I heard that song, and I felt the meaning of those lyrics and in the
amazing.
context in which it was being sang. Crazy.
Wow.
I'm a huge Jason Mraz fan. I think musically he's really cool. I will always go back and listen to old Jason Mraz stuff, and
Okay.
even his live
Okay.
record from '08 rips. That's like
Love that.
that's my guilty pleasure artist is Jason Mraz. I will
Yeah,
not
man.
tell a
No
lie.
worries.
Uh, no, like that song's very special to me. The Colony House song, Jason Mraz is something always fun. I'm a huge Joe Dart fan, so anytime Wolfpack or Fearless Flyers or something comes out with something, that's a huge bass influence of mine. Grew
Nice.
up listening to Appetite for Destruction front and back. Like
Yeah.
Duff McKagan, huge inspiration for me. Like, yeah, Appetite for Destruction, the Colony House song, Jason Mraz, and
I'll tell you what.
I
So I play lead guitar in my band United Defiance currently,
mhm.
but I was actually a bass player for 20 years before that. So because we're talking shop here towards the very end of the interview, give me your favorite bass god.
Billy Sheehan.
That's a good answer. That's a
Yeah.
really good answer.
Yeah, I
Right
mean,
on.
I grew up listening to Mr. Big, and so like Paul Gilbert, Billy Sheehan, Pat Torpey. I'm just like, okay, musicians, I see you. Like,
Right on. I see you and I'm coming for you, but like respectfully. Like that's all
respectfully.
good. Right on. Well, hey man, give us a quick shout out. What are you up to? What's upcoming next? What can we do in terms of following you and supporting you and getting your music and art out to the rest of the world before we do the sign off here?
Yeah, I mean, I'm heading back down to Charlotte, North Carolina, less than a month to re-rock the yacht again down in
Love it.
Carowin. So if you're in the Charlotte area, feel free to swing by and have Paul E. Shores yell at you about yacht rock. And other than that, my socials are all pretty much the same. 20jaw00. You can find the links to East Ninth and JW the Convenience Band all over those. Like that's what's next, and that's who I am and what's up.
Dude, thank you so much for taking a minute with me. This has been super cool.
Oh, this has
One, to
been
catch
awesome.
up with
Thank
you
you
and
for
chat.
inviting me.
Yeah, my pleasure. And then two, to kind of get to learn about your background and history and what makes a musician. And I absolutely will be seeing you at some point in the future because I'm zooming around the country doing stuff like this for the
Oh yeah.
rest of the year. So we'll make this happen. Thank you so much. This is Sasha with FairVU. This has been an interview with Mr. Jay Walters. Have a good one. We'll talk to you later.